Hey everybody, this is Derek, and this is a quick look at StoryCorps. StoryCorps is a mobile app created by a nonprofit of the same name, which is supposed to help the user prepare for, conduct, and share oral interviews. It's a really cool app, so let's get into it. So, the idea is that, everybody has life experiences that are worth hearing. Most of us don't get interviewed and our experiences aren't shared, and the app is supposed to help us collect the knowledge and experiences of the people around us. The app recommends that you find somebody that you want to interview, get into a quiet place, and start recording. Once it's done, the app will help you upload that file to a database of some sort. You can upload it to the StoryCorps website. You can upload it, if you want, to the Library of Congress, or you can keep it private on your own device. And their objective is to create this big archive of people's experiences and knowledge, which is kind of cool if you ask me. So, after getting that brief introduction, we are prompted to log in, and I will do so because I've already created an account. You can also create an account with your Facebook login. So, in the past, it's kind of frozen for me on this scene because I wanted to wipe my app so you could see what the first-time user experience is. So I don't ordinarily get a hang up there. I'm just going to restart, and this is what the first-time user will see. So it asks me for permission to store files on my device. Sure. You go through terms of use and a privacy policy. Yep. And then you're presented with the StoryCorps app. So you are told you can either press the plus sign to create a new interview or use the menu to explore the app. Let's do that first. Okay, so the first thing that we can look at is this listen category, where you can see other uploaded stories that may be worth listening to. One thing to note here is the length of interviews. Most of these interviews are actually quite short. The top story here is 2 minutes and 41 seconds. These others are 2 minutes, maybe 3 minutes. And then a little bit further down, I think I saw, this one is 42 minutes, right? So the maximum length for a story within StoryCorps is 45 minutes. Many of them are quite short by comparison. So something to keep in mind. The app also gives you some hints about how to use it. So if you're preparing for an interview, it says pick your partner, prepare your partner. So giving them the questions in advance lets them know what to think about and be prepared to tell. Organize your questions. Thank them after you finish recording. Or if you want to get good sounds, introduce yourself, share the mic, pick a quiet place, that sort of thing. So it's some basic tips for how to conduct an interview. But the core of what you're trying to do with StoryCorps is actually record an interview. So let's look at that interface. Okay, so I've clicked on create a new interview, and it presents me with two options. One, either to prepare an interview, or two, to record an interview. Let's take a look at preparing, because there's some pretty cool functionality here. Okay, so it presents you with some tips saying, basically the same things that we saw in the tips screen. Preparing questions in advance is helpful. Ask follow-up questions. Get rid of background noise. I'm going to pretend that I'm interviewing my father. So I'm just going to say international dad. And after that, I'm presented with the option to choose what questions I ask. And if I click on this, you can see that it gives you a whole bunch of pre-selected questions. So wow, okay, look at this. So it was recently the anniversary of the Stonewall riots. And here's a set of questions prepared that would help people who remember or were some way involved with the Stonewall riots. You can also ask questions of veterans, or here are questions that you might ask grandparents, or if you wanted to ask people about a serious illness that they had. So these are pre-prepared questions, and if you just want to add them to your list, you say, sure, I'll add the plus sign here. You can see that I'm checking them off. And down below, you can see the list of questions that you've shared. Or if you want, you can just write your own question and say, what is your, oh gosh, favorite color? Please ignore the terrible autocorrect and hit save. And then I can add it, right? And if I were creating this app, I would want to find a way for users to share questions with one another, so that I could see the different questions that my colleagues were asking. But alas, I am not the principal designer for StoryCorps, so I'm leaving that to the side. Once I have a good set of questions, I can hit save, and it returns me to this home interview menu. And then it asks, okay, next part, who are you going to interview? Now, you can very simply just say, Dad, or my father's name is Steve, so I could say Steve. And that could be it. But if you wanted to, you could also provide a last name and an email so that I believe these people get notified once the story goes live. And there are some more tips here. Choose someone you could honor by recording and sharing their questions with the world. Is there someone important? This is basically helping somebody to choose who to interview. I'm just going to leave it at Steve for now. I could also add myself as a participant or add more participants, but in this case, I'm just going to say Steve. Okay, so now we've got an interviewer, Steve, and 6 questions to ask. So I'm going to say, record this interview. Here, StoryCorps, again, if you're using this app for the first time, gives some instructions saying, okay, you're going to swipe left and right to view all your questions. Be sure to keep the microphone at a distance of about 6 to 8 inches and tap the questions, the check marks, when you are done. So, good to know. Here we are. So, you are presented first with a prompt to begin with participants introducing themselves. There are some good tips here. Particularly, I noticed that it says to name the date. I cannot tell you how many times I've done a recording, either audio or video, where I have no idea when it actually occurred because I didn't say it, and I stripped out all the metadata somehow. So it's just a file without any information about itself. Naming the date, naming who you're talking to, means that anybody who listens to it will be able to gather important information about it. So that's good to keep in mind. You'll also see there's a little counter down at the bottom of the screen. So we can say that 0 seconds have elapsed, and as I said, there's a maximum time of 45 minutes. And then there's this little ball in the center here. That's actually a pie chart, so you can see visually how far you've gone in the interview. And there's a recording option. So when I'm ready to record, I just hit that record button. I'm just going to go through beforehand and not hit the record button right now. So as I'm going through these questions, I can hit the check mark and it'll automatically move me through the list. And here are the questions that I asked in the or that I selected in the very beginning of this process. Can you tell me what you did or do for a living? Can you tell me how you ended up in your line of work? Or we can skip to the very important question, what are your favorite core? Right? So the app actually helps you progress through your preset list of questions. You don't need to have paper notes or anything like that rustling around as you're trying to prepare yourself. So you hit record. I'm finished with the recording. Now we enter the new phase where we're trying to upload and record the app, or the interview. And I can either upload a photo or I can take a photo. Here I'm going to take a picture of my son's Calvin and Hobbes book and pick a crop. It's asking for permission to use my location. I say sure. And it gives some more tips. You can write a very brief summary just to say, dads are cool, or dams are cool. which they are. You can provide keywords. And here I think this is kind of interesting. You can pick from a preset list. So if I start typing in marriage, it's there. Or if I want to say kids, well, I guess kids isn't an option, but maybe children, birth of children, or childcare. Or I can provide organizations or places. This metadata will make it easier for people who are interested in finding stories about a given topic or a given organization or a given place. It makes it easier to find that content. So this enables other people to find your story. And then I hit save. We see that my participant is Steve, but it also could include me. It could include my location. Right now it just shows the state that I'm living in. And you have privacy settings. So by default, you go to public. Anybody on the web can see the story. You could also say the StoryCorps community at large, or you can make it available for a private group. You also have the option of just storing the interview on your device. A private group is when you have like a small community of people that you want to have access to your interview, but not, it's a limited number. It's not like the broad, all users of StoryCorps. And when I'm all done, I can click save, and it tells me my interview is shared on this device. If I wanted to, I could publish the interview, and there again, I could put it up to a number of different spaces, including the StoryCorps website and the Library of Congress. If I were creating this app myself, I might make it linked to my own private database or another website, but I am not, so there we are. Or I can choose another option, which is to only share it to this device. And then when it's done, here I have my own interview. And if I click play, you can see that now it's going through. You can see that my interview is complete. So that is StoryCorps. It's a really cool app to help people prepare for interviews, conduct them, and share them with a broader community. So it's very inspirational to me, and I hope you find this interesting. Okay, thanks for watching.